What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Pete, and today we're taking a look at the recently released Yooka Laylee on the Nintendo Switch and how that version stacks up against its PS4 Pro variant. The reason I decided to go with the PS4 Pro for this comparison is that I wanted to compare the two versions that are technically the farthest apart on the console side of things. So on PS4 Pro you have all that horsepower pushing the best looking version of the game, and on Switch you have a mobile Tegra chipset trying to replicate that as closely as it can. Right off the bat, the Switch load times are definitely slower than on the PS4 Pro, but don't worry, you won't be looking at the loading screen for minutes at a time. At worst, this was a 10 to 15 second difference. Again, that is worst case and not the average. Once you're in the game, you will notice that the Switch takes a hit when it comes to resolution. In docked mode, you're getting 900p, and in handheld, it's a cool 630p. Whilst these are not the 1080p and 720p the Switch is capable of outputting in its respective modes, they are very respectable numbers, and we have seen significantly worse from other games prior. The overall resolution shares a similar quality to that of Mario Odyssey. Not perfect, but shouldn't detract from your experience much, if even at all. The textures on the PlayStation are of a higher quality. This means the Switch version at times has a smudgy look to it. I wouldn't say this difference was enough to be distracting, but it's certainly noticeable if you decide to stop and stare for a while. Rather than using the exact same assets, Playtonic has remade a lot of the 3D art from the ground up with the Switch specifications in mind. By not shoehorning the more powerful console assets down, they're able to tailor these to a point where they actually look quite a bit better than you might expect. Not PS4 Pro, but not bad at all. Both versions of the game are limited to 30 frames per second, with the Switch version having some occasional drops. These are more like a stutter from time to time rather than prolonged instances of low frames, and it manages to stay at 30 way more often than not. Whilst there is a disparity in resolution and texture quality, this 30 frames per second lock means that when you're actually playing the game, even when comparing the two side by side, the differences are not substantial. The most noticeable difference for me was that the colours of the Switch version are slightly more washed out, but to be fair, this was only really noticeable when viewing the two versions side by side. Yes, in the grand scheme of things, the Switch version definitely looks worse than the PS4 Pro variant, but really the point here is that it will more than likely exceed your expectations, and it certainly outdoes other ports we've seen in the past. And yes, there are a number of areas where the graphical quality has been dropped, but I would argue that Yooka Laylee on the Switch, when in motion at the same 30 FPS you're getting on other consoles, is greater than the sum of its lower quality parts. So what do we take from this? Would I consider this a good port? Yes, I would. So much so in fact that if you are undecided on which to buy, I would urge you to get the Switch version. The differences are for the most part negligible, and being able to play this in handheld mode is fantastic. Yooka Laylee on the Switch never felt like a dialed back version of another console's game. It felt right at home on the plucky little hybrid. This is a very good port indeed. Remember, if you liked the video, then like the video, and make sure you subscribe for all future content. I've been Pete, thanks for watching.